Recognize the ranking member of the subcommittee, Mr. Johnson of Georgia.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Register Perlmutter, in its guidance, the Copyright Office argued that both the Constitution and the Copyright Act define an author as a human entity, excluding non-human creations, and noted that this stance is reinforced by various court rulings, and concluded that those using AI in their creations can claim copyright protection only for their human contributions. How did the Copyright Office make that determination, and how will that bright line help artists and creators survive in fields that will increasingly be filled with AI-generated works?
Well, I would divide my answer into two parts. So the first part is the issue of the protectability of the output, the protectability of individual works that are generated using AI. And to the extent that humans use AI as a tool, that should not affect the protectability of the work. The human author would still be the creator, and the work would be protected by copyright. And using AI as a tool is not something entirely new. It's been used in particular in the music field, for example, for decades in various ways. The issue that we addressed, because it was squarely put before us, in particular in the Thaler case, was a situation where the claim was that a work was generated solely by a computer. And in that situation, looking at the word author in both the Constitution and the statute, as you have noted, Mr. Johnson, we believe that that term implies human authorship and not that of a machine. And that position was borne out by a number of court cases over decades, if not centuries. So we were pleased to see the district court in the District of Columbia, as I mentioned, agree with us on that. And what we are trying to do is to guide people as to how they can register works that include generative AI outputs. And in that context, we've said they should just disclaim the portion of the work that was generated by AI, and we will issue a registration for the work as a whole where there is some human authorship. The second part of the question, I think, really relates to what effect it will have on the ability of human creators to make a living when their works are input into the computer for purposes of machine learning, and then the output might compete in the marketplace with their work. And that's an issue that we're going to be studying, that we've asked for comments in our notice of inquiry, and we agree it's a critically important issue for the future. We need to make sure that we do not inhibit the development of a very exciting new technology, while at the same time ensuring that human creativity continues to thrive.
Thank you. Many AI models are trained on copyrighted data, but not all of that training data is licensed. Why is it important that copyrighted information used to train AI be licensed?
One of the issues that is presented both before us and that we've asked questions about in the notice of inquiry and also in some of the court cases that are pending is the extent to which any use of copyrighted works in training the AI may qualify as fair use. To the extent it qualifies as fair use, it would not need to be licensed. To the extent there are certain uses that do not qualify as fair use, there would be a need to obtain licenses. And then we've asked the further question of how would that be done as a practical matter? Can it be handled through direct licensing? Should it be handled through collective licensing? Or should Congress consider some sort of new compulsory license system? So a lot of open questions still, and we will be exploring all of those as we review the responses to our notice of inquiry.
Would licensing be sufficient?
It would certainly deal with the need to have authorization if a use falls within the rights under the Copyright Act and doesn't qualify as fair use. So it would deal with the authorization element. And presumably it would also deal with the compensation element. And depending on the terms of the license, it could also require credit being given to the creators.
Thank you. My time is about to expire, so I'll yield it back.
I thank you for the 6 seconds. We now go to the gentleman from Virginia, Mr. Klein.